Get ready for the name on this. Polaris Ranger XD 1500 Northstar Edition. That's a very long name. This is a very capable side-by-side. I'll include a link to the Jorgensen Powersports website in the description down below. They're providing us with this side-by-side. They also have a Ford store right next door if you're looking for a new Ford. Let's get into it. Before we talk about the engine, yes, I just pressed one simple button and it lifted up the bed just like a dump truck. And this has a tailgate, so you could put stuff in the bed and then lift it up like this and then dump it out just like a dump truck. Powering this is a 1500cc engine with a steel belt, which is supposed to be a lot more durable. Anyways, it puts out 110 horsepower. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. I dig the little star on the hood, and this has kind of like a matte finish on it, which is seeming to be a popular thing with side-by-sides now. Very sharp looking headlights, and then you've got the Polaris logo here front and center. Kind of a cool looking grille. It reminds me of a Raptor in a lot of ways. Anyways, we've got lights here on the bumper, steel bumper. It also has a winch rated for 6,000 pounds, and you've got recovery points. So far, this thing is both aggressive and practical. Tire and wheel setup is 30 by 10 by 15. I love the silver with the blacked out trim on the wheels and very aggressive tires. Now the suspension system on this isn't as sophisticated as like a Pro S Razor, for example, but it's still gonna get a little bit of that Razor DNA. They're going hard on the 1500 and then also the steel drive transmission. They gotta let everyone know. But anywho, you notice we've got regular door handles and this has windows. This is because this has a fully enclosed cab. I mean, it's basically a full-blown pickup truck at this point. And speaking of pickup truck, this has 1,500 pounds of bed capacity and 3,500 pounds of towing capacity. Well, let's take a closer look at that bed. So the tailgate is not dampened. You gotta lower it under your own strength, but it's very heavy duty. 500-pound limit. No wonder this thing is so heavy. Wow, that's great. Anyways, we've got a ruler there on the back and just a very tough, durable bed in general. Don't skip bicep day with this one, that's for sure. Got the Northstar badge there, and then we do have taillights with this model. And that's gonna sum things up for the exterior. This thing so far, capability-wise, for a side-by-side is seriously impressive. Let's check out the interior. That is a funky release for the door itself. Now we do have back seats. You got the Polaris logo there. Really nice, trim, durable, easy to clean. Plenty of legroom back here. I like how there's this bar that we can grab onto. Anyways, window controls there in the center. Cup holders. There's another cup holder here. This is the third seat. But I do like this trim quite a bit. It feels very durable, like I said. Also, there's tons of headroom back here. These doors opening up backwards is kind of nice. Here's a quick look at the front seat. You've got that same durable trim. Quite a few important functions built in here. So you push for the tow haul mode. And yes, it has a dedicated tow haul mode. You twist for the drive modes. That is for your all-wheel drive mode. It's in two-wheel drive otherwise. And then it actually has a rear locking differential, which would be nice for, you know, some rugged terrain. And then below that, we've got the switch to turn on the winch, if I am reading that correctly. And then that is for the bed. And then this is for the lights. Steering wheel doesn't have any controls on it, which is actually nice to see in this modern world of digital everything. Now there is a partially analog, partially digital gauge cluster. Looks really nice, and it lets you know what's happening with the rear, if the rear's locked up, if it's in two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, all of that. And this right here is probably the wildest thing I've ever seen in a vehicle. Why doesn't Jeep have this with the Wrangler? You literally just got a handle and now the windshield's up and wow. Why doesn't the Wrangler have this? Now there's a backup camera, but it looks like the exhaust makes the camera foggy, so it may be something for them to work on. Is there a front camera? Maybe. Huh. Anywho, we do have this center screen, which you can change what this displays depending on what you want to see. You can hook up your phone. You've got a navigation screen built in too. So nice setup, and then again, it lets you know stuff like your speed and also what the drive line is doing. Next to the screen on the passenger side, we've got storage up top. I don't know if that's closed all the way. Hopefully. Glove box, Northstar badge. Climate controls in the center. We have all of the window controls. This is for the winch to bring it in or out. There's also a little clicker here on the fob, it looks like, for the winch as well. And then rear aux to turn that on. And there's just kind of a lot of storage here. It also has a bench seat, so got a cup holder on that. But it's nice to have a bench seat up front. It does come equipped with a rear view mirror and, ooh, cargo light. And before I forget, JBL sound system. This thing's rocking. When it comes to pricing, this is about $50-ish thousand starting before accessories and all that kind of stuff. See how it performs. So we're obviously just going to be in two-wheel drive with this obviously differential unlocked and all of that. I still think this windshield thing is like the coolest. Like, that is so cool that you can just raise or lift up the windshield. Again, I'm shocked that Jeep hasn't done that. So I just drove a Kawasaki before this. Now, it was quite a bit less money, and it was like they're kind of like truck side by side. This thing, the suspension's so much more comfortable. So again, I'm not like a connoisseur of side by sides. This is my first time reviewing them. But what I will say is I've noticed, yeah, the Polaris stuff is more expensive, but the suspension and the engine seems to be a lot better than the other stuff so far. Like, it's got way more power. The power delivery feels better. And the suspension's way more comfortable. Like, this is just buttery smooth. And you're so close to the front with this, it's kind of interesting. Is this adjustable? Can't really push it in too far, but you can move it up and down. This thing handles well too. Is it bad that I like Polaris the most, guys? Like, let me know. Because, I mean, so far, I like that. I like the Razor. That thing was crazy. And this thing seems like it's super capable. It's got a lot of, you know, it's got a lot of fancy gadgets that might not be necessary, but it also just drives so well. It's pretty quick. Man, this is nice. Get a bit of tire noise, of course. Bye-bye, backpack. Oof. Yeah, I will say the suspension's the highlight, in my opinion, with this. Man, this is nice. The one thing that I can understand why people wouldn't like daily drive a side-by-side outside of like short drives is it is loud. It is loud. Yeah, this thing's fantastic. It really does perform quite well. The steering's nice too, and it's got good body control. I'm just like, I just drove a Kawasaki before this, and this seems to be a much better tuned vehicle, but it's also like $20,000 more expensive, so you'd hope so. Yeah, I like this thing. So in conclusion, this thing is quite capable. Again, on the surface, this is my first time reviewing these side-by-sides. It seems like Polaris is making the nicest stuff, but they're also very expensive compared to the other stuff. So it's kind of like you pay for, well, having a bed that can automatically raise and lower, and having more power. And this interior, one thing they could do with these, oh, that's nice, is they could add a little bit more sound deadening in like the windows, for example. They could do double pane on the windows to make it more insulated. I understand it's a side-by-side. I'm just thinking, like, these are getting so expensive with so many features. There's a couple of things they could add to make it more livable, because it's getting to the point where some people this might be the only vehicle they have in a rural area. But anyways, let me know your thoughts.